Nation of Fit and 10, it is day 36. We are the first day through the second half of this challenge. I sent out your numbers today. You may have noticed that probably your fat and carbohydrates dropped a little bit, and maybe your protein did a little bit too, but that's really just a rounding error, so don't freak out that your protein's down. That's normal. Again, I am playing with your percentages, and sometimes it just rounds down that number, okay? So if your protein is off by a couple grams down, don't worry about it, okay? It's not going to change anything. Don't freak out, okay? The Calendly link is up. Okay, so no, sorry, the Calendly link is not up. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's going to be up tomorrow. Okay, listen, I'll put up a note in Slack and let you all know, and of course I'll put it in the video of the day. But we are going to run them on I think it's the 11th, 12th, and 13th. Okay, and if you can't get in, let me know. But that calendar will be up tomorrow. All right. Okay, let's get to some of your questions here. I'm working my way. I'm chipping down. Of course, you're going to send me your feedback this weekend, right? All right. This person says, okay, this is under name, something specific you can improve upon for the following week. Last week, I was tracking my meals 80% of the time and not the other 20%. With the occasional eating out, which ruined my progress, but back on track this week. Okay, yeah, very good. And you know what? Like, I mean, I talked about this in videos before, and somebody mentioned about messing up on a day and what to do, and do we make it up, and blah, blah, blah. No, you just move forward, okay? In this case, you just move forward. But I just want to say one thing. You know, you may have not been tracking 20%, and let's just say that's accurate, but that can make a huge difference, right? So that doesn't mean that you would be 20% off your energy intake for the week. It could mean you're 50% off, right? It could mean you're 100% off. So, you know, don't get those two things confused. 20% off of your actual tracking of your meals is quite a bit. So, you know, just be aware of that, right? Name something specific you need help with. Really need help increasing protein content without increasing fat. Can't believe my fat is so high. I sent you macros, so take a look. Okay, so I probably already looked at your macros because this is back on May 25th. So I've already responded to you, but I don't necessarily recall responding to this question yet. So listen, in your book, you've got a book here. I've got the old one, okay, so you've got a newer manual than what I've got here. But in this one, you've got a list of protein-strong foods. This is non-exhaustive, of course. Non-exhaustive list right here, protein foods. Almost all of these are lean. That is, they are low-carb, they are low-fat sources. So this is an example here. But there's probably some that aren't mentioned here. So, you know, let's see what else can I put in here. So we've got things like pretty much any kind of white fish. Okay, so you know, tuna, cod, pollock, flounder, halibut, any other kind of white fish. These are all going to be lean. Shellfish, shrimp, crab, lobster, all lean. Certain red meats like eye of round, flank, of course protein powders, unless they're meal replacements, protein powder is going to be very, very lean. Low-fat cottage cheese, low-fat Greek yogurt, egg whites are probably the cleanest. You're getting zero carbohydrates and zero fat in those. What else? There's others, you know, like you know, bison would be another example. So, you know, just look at the certain cuts of animal flesh, any kind of white fish, you know, your low-fat dairies, you know, your egg whites, protein powders. There's, like, quite a lot out there, okay? So, but, you know, if you're looking for carbohydrate sources that are protein sources, that doesn't really happen, right? So, you know, hopefully that's going to help you. I think I probably listed off at least 20 or so foods, right? So, you know, my hope is with something like this that it's going to give you an idea of more foods, right? So you're going to see, like, for example, like, you know, I've got seafood in here, but I don't have all seafoods, right? Like, I don't have, for example, halibut in this list. So maybe you'll look at halibut and be like, okay, I'm going to have halibut, right? Or I don't have, like, pollock in this list or something like that, right? You know, or I don't have whatever. I don't have ground chicken in this list, okay? but I've got chicken. So things like that, right? Okay, so start here, and then of course I just gave you more options. Is there anything you'd like me to cover in this video series? Mostly just examples of increasing protein content in diet. But yeah, I mean, listen, if you're trying to get your protein in by eating vegetables, this is be very, very hard, or fruit, or, you know, fat sources like nuts. This is very, very hard. You know, you've got to, it's not impossible, but you've got to go, if you're not vegan or vegetarian, you've got to dive in for these foods that are basically, aside from their water content, they are pure protein. Okay. Name something specific you can improve on for the following week. Eating larger volumes in the morning day. Find I'm always struggling at night because I'm tired and I hate cleaning up and just want something simple, but in the day I feel like I'm constantly eating. Okay. All right. Well, I can't argue with you if you feel like you're constantly eating, because I mean that's just the way you feel. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of funny because, you know, usually when people go on some sort of diet, they're always complaining about not getting enough food. And I feel like, you know, even though your calories aren't going to change that much, you're probably going to complain to me eventually. Even this person will probably complain to me that they're not getting enough food. But maybe not. But generally speaking, people always say to me towards the end, it's like, I'm starving. So, you know, yeah, I mean, this is the problem with eating real whole food. It's just calorie sparse. You're getting a lot of volume, not getting a lot of calories. So, you know, this makes it a little bit harder. Also, you're eating more protein, so you're going to feel more satiated. You're going to feel more full. This is part of the reason I give you this diet is because, you know, I don't want you to be hungry, right? So, you know, if you're used to eating convenience foods, you know, then you're getting a lot of calories and a little bit of food, and so you're just not used to eating the volume, and you're getting tons of calories. But there are some foods out there that are you know, real whole food that are more calorie dense. So things like nuts and oatmeal. You know, your protein foods are going to be a hard one because, you know, you're getting just protein, and that's going to really feel like you're full. It's going to make you feel full, but you're not getting a lot of calories. So, you know, that's going to be the harder one, of course. My isobars are pretty calorie dense. The RX bars you get from Costco are pretty calorie dense for what you're getting. Pasta and whole milk, okay. Pasta, we don't really consider that a whole food, of course, but there's minimal ingredients going into it, so it's not really that much of a processed food. I mean, it is processed, but it doesn't have a ton of ingredients in it. Smoothies are another great way to go. Drinking your food can be a great way to go. Most people don't like doing this because they feel like, well, I'm just not satisfied. I'm drinking all my food and I don't feel like I get to eat anything. But in your case, if you're having a hard time, smoothies would be a great way to go, right? So putting things like, you know, nut butter and banana and protein powder in with almond milk, and before you know it, you've got 500 or 600 calories. You've got probably close to 50% of your, maybe not 50%, but a good third of your calories in one drink. And that's it. That's like a third of your calories gone, and you're just drinking that. Okay, so that's something else I'd recommend. So, you know, I would start with some of those foods for sure. Smoothies for sure would be a great way to go. Okay. But, you know, when you start to have nuts or oils, I mean, your fat is just going to be gone. Like, it's going to just be gone. You're not going to have any room, so be careful with these things. Okay, 9 minutes. Okay, let's get to the message of the day. Okay, message of the day. Message of the day is this: you cannot lose in trying. You cannot lose in trying. So I want to remind you to keep trying. I want to remind you that if you feel like you are failing, if you feel like you've had some off days, like somebody just wrote me, they were off, they had a bad week, you've got to keep trying, because this trying is part of the evolution of you improving. You know, you cannot possibly expect, although some people can do it, but it's not the norm for you to just flick a switch and go from bump to bump, right? If you can do that, that's awesome, and kudos to you. But for a lot of you, it's going to be a little bit of this, right? And that is normal. That is normal. But the key here is to focus on keep trying. Keep trying to go over here, right? Keep trying towards it, and it will get easier, okay? You cannot possibly expect to be like, well, I didn't get over here in a couple weeks, and I'm not perfect, so I'm just not cut out for this, or I'm just going to stop trying, or, this is challenging, so I think I'm just going to stop. Anything in your life, especially that you're struggling with and you want to change, and you're struggling with, but you want to change, but you're struggling with, you've got to keep trying, and you're going to keep struggling with it, and you might be frustrated, okay? But you've got to keep plugging away and trying. This is the way it's going to be. This is the essence of evolving and trying to make something better in your life, whether it's your business, whether it's a certain course in school, or perhaps completing your degree or whatever it is. Case in point, the challenge. This is just the way it is. It's part of the process of getting towards more of a permanent change. It's expected. If everything's easy, you just flick a switch and you just do it. There would be more people who are successful in these endeavors. You would see people doing more, achieving more. But it's not so much that people can't do it. It's just the fact that they choose not to do it because it's hard, right? So you cannot lose in trying. This is the only way you will not lose, is by keeping on trying, keeping on, right? Keeping on trying. Doesn't sound like really good English, but how about just keep trying? That's probably better. Just remove some words. Okay? Keep trying. Do not give up. Do not give up. It will get easier. If you keep trying, I promise you it will get easier. Remember, don't rely on motivation or inspiration. Keep things in. Try to make them habits and just keep plugging away, okay? Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself. And for the love of God, give some gratitude for everything you have, and I will talk to you all very soon. See you guys.